Right, welcome back to you. The Formula E pre-main race is just under an hour away from starting. All 11 teams have completed qualifying, and it's Frenchman Sacha Fenestra driving for the Nissan team in pole position. The Cape Town leg of the series brings the concept of e-mobility to the public eye. Earlier, I was joined by eNCA Sport editor Vatangobeni. I'm now joined by him still, as well as eNCA Sport reporter Justin Ford. And Justin, let's start off with you. Thank you so much for joining us again. I mean, you've been building up to this event for weeks now. How is the live event so far?
Yeah, good afternoon, Nicole, from a very busy grid walk at the inaugural Cape Town E-Prix. Fantastic moment to be here. The drivers are set to get into their vehicles. In actual fact, we'll get to hear the national anthems very soon. We've been told that it's roughly just under 2 minutes to that, but we are on the grid where the drivers have started lining up. Fans, special guests have been allowed to actually walk the grid. A very special moment, and I think the national anthem will actually just begin now, Nicole. So I think if we will just pause for the singing of the national anthem.
Great event. I was there at 7 a.m. There's a few people at 7 a.m. It's like Mexico. It's like Mexico. And yeah, the good job. The track is good.
So that is my colleague there, Justin Ford. He's in Cape Town at the Formula E, which is being hosted in Cape Town for the first time. And as you can hear, we do have the national anthem currently playing. And we're going to pause for a moment during that, and we'll catch up with Justin in a moment. Lovely scenes, though, there, as you can see. A packed event, about 20,000 people attending today.
Well, there we have it, Nicole. The South African national anthem has officially been sung, and I think that just kickstarts the fact that the race is about to take place here in Cape Town.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that, Justin. Let's quickly move over to Vata. We do have him on the line with us as well. Vata, earlier you mentioned that Mahindra as well as ABT Coopers withdrew cars, and we do have some of our viewers who might not know exactly why that happened. Can you give us a brief indication of what exactly happened there, why they decided to go ahead and withdraw their vehicles?
Yeah, good afternoon, Nicole. I think the biggest issue, and Mahindra Racing picked this up first, something was wrong with the powertrain, and Mahindra, being the supplier to Cupra with those powertrains, felt that Cupra felt that they also have to pull out, and again it's a danger that comes, with these powertrains. This is the fastest track on the circuit at the moment. It's got one of the fastest corners on the circuit, so. The driver safety is imperative when it comes to the sport. And if you've got any doubt over the powertrains and how fast the car can easily get out of control, one has to always put driver safety first. And so Mahindra has pulled out, and we do know that, Mahindra have got a former Formula E world champion in Lucas de Grassi, the Brazilian. And unfortunately, when it comes to the South African involvement in Cupra, we've got our own Kelvin van der Linde involved there, so he will not be part of the main race today, which is very, very unfortunate, because at some point he had looked good. We saw in free practice yesterday, he did drive fast. He was fast off the grid. And unfortunately, with the two teams pulling out, Kelvin van der Linde will no longer be involved in today's race.
Justin, I quickly want to go back to you. I mean, of course, the E-Fest is seeking to promote e-mobility, but a quick question, and I ask you this also because of the eNCA Drive show that you present as well. So you deal with various types of vehicles on a daily basis. You know, a lot of individuals at dealerships have said that, you know, looking at e-mobility, it might not really be financially sustainable in the long term for the average person. Also, if you look at the battery life that goes with a lot of those vehicles, they don't last, you know, forever. They do last for a few years, but in terms of getting them replaced as well, it's thousands and thousands of rands to get that done. So whilst this event is looking at promoting e-mobility, what is your view on the longevity of that?
Nicole, I am going to come back to your question around sustainability, around e-mobility, but I think the man of the moment just passed me and I stopped him and asked him to stay with us, Calvin van der Linde. It's a different position that he would have liked to have been in, you know, come the start of the race. He would have wanted to have been in that car, putting on his driver's suit, putting on his helmet, you know, your music, your sort of pre-race routine would have wanted to happen right now. It's not happening, but you get to experience a different side of things. This was something that you potentially would have done anyway had you not had the seat. But, you know, again, disappointment, I mean, to not be in that seat right now.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed. We're all racers. We want to go out there. We want to give it our best. And we, you know, when you see the crowd like this, I had goosebumps with the national anthem there, seeing the crowd cheering. Absolutely amazing. And but yeah, I'm not going to drop my head. I think it's so many positives here, as I mentioned to you earlier. I got family here. I got my cousin actually with me here on the grid. And yeah, just loving being here, enjoying the atmosphere, speaking to you guys. And yeah, let's have a great race. I hope we're going to have a good one.
Just in terms of the race, what do you expect now? You now look at this race as an outsider, as opposed to being in the race and fighting for, you know, for positions. Yeah. Sort of, how do you see things go based on what the qualifying sessions were like?
It's going to be wild. I mentioned already the whole week. It's the risk versus reward factor. The guys are going full out in qualifying. We saw some crashes. So I think it's going to be a survival race. The guys that can make it to the end of the race, they're going to be in it for the podium.
Calvin, thank you very much for your time. You've been an absolute rock star, sort of just fighting for South Africa and promoting South Africa. So all the best for the rest of the season for you, brother.
Thanks, bud. Hope to see you soon, eh?
Absolutely. Well, there we have it, Nicole. You know what? A positive Calvin van der Linde, despite the fact that he does not get to race here in South Africa, a homegrown boy, something that he was very much excited to do. But with that being said, I'll hopefully get to speak to him in the near future to see about what his plans are moving forward. He hopes to get a drive in Formula E next season, but for now he's got some DTM championships work to do. With regards to the sustainability of these e-vehicles, I think there is a global drive for electric vehicles to start taking over the world. I think, you know, protecting our planet is something that we need to take seriously. We heard the chairperson of e-movement, Ian Bannard's talk earlier that South Africa needs to look at its legislature in order to become more electric friendly. So those are one of the things. But in terms of the longevity of the vehicles, those are all things that are being worked on to ensure that these cars have their longevity. Yes, I've been exposed to some fantastic vehicles that have been launched here in South Africa. Something very new to us, but I think from an infrastructure point of view, and the more people are being educated, and I think this is what the organizers at the Cape Town E-Prix are also trying to do, trying to educate the public as to what e-mobility is all about and that we need to move that way.
You're on the money there, Justin, when you say people need to be educated, and definitely in the long run that will happen. Vata, let's quickly end off with you. What do you say to the people who are watching and they're saying there's no noise? You know, we all love Formula One, and, you know, it's great to hear all of the noise that comes with those vehicles. It gives us this big adrenaline rush, especially if you're not watching on the television and you're actually sitting right there. I mean, I'm looking at both you and Justin right now and just listening to the band earlier when I spoke with you. There's about 20,000 people where you are right now, so it definitely is popular. But what do you have to say to those who say it's not the same because you don't get the noise that you usually get with all these vehicles?
Well, Nicole, for those who say there's no motorsport without noise, I can tell you now, there's plenty of motorsport without noise. You know, it's a quieter version of what you get when it comes to your petrol-powered vehicles. But at the same time, you know, the racing is just as exciting, if not even more, because these cars are way faster than what we see the Formula One cars be. But more than anything, Nicole, you want to talk about Formula One? Well, behind me here is a car of Stoffel van Dorn, who's a reigning Formula E world champion. again, a former Formula One driver. His teammate is also a former Jean-Eric Verne, also a former Formula One driver. He's a two-time champion of Formula E. So you can see the distinction between the both may be in the sound, but when it comes to the drivers themselves, it comes to vehicles, and the excitement in the track. You've got former Formula One drivers moving over to Formula E and providing the same sort of entertainment, driving at the same speeds, if not even faster, but then again attaining, something that they're not able to do in Formula One. So, yeah, it's a bit quieter when it comes to the cars being on the track, but you can hear them from almost a kilometer away, the kind of noise that they make and the screeching tires and so on. So, it might not be Formula One with the loud noise, but I can tell you now, Nicole, they're probably faster than the Formula One cars. And the wonderful thing is that Cape Town has really, really come out, and has embraced what Formula E brings with it. It's one of the fastest growing motorsporting disciplines, and I can easily say it's a very, very close second to what Formula One offers. So hopefully with that, Formula One will be coming to South Africa very, very soon, and we can enjoy both Formula E and Formula One in South Africa, because this race is still going to go on for another 4 more years as a contract with the city of Cape Town is and Formula E. So we'll be enjoying these vehicles and we'll be enjoying this kind of racing for at least the next 4 years to come.
Thank you so much for that, Vata. Justin, I hear that you have a lovely guest there with you. Enlighten us.
Because we've actually got the Springbok captain, Siya Kolisi, here with us, Nicole. So I'm just going to get his thoughts quickly. You're on the grid. There's a fantastic event in Cape Town, and it just highlights the strength of our country if we put our minds to all of this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's about to have a go-ahead now. Look at the turnout. It's sold out, and this is just us once again showing the rest of the world that we are capable of. It's amazing. It's beautiful, and I think kids are now, tasting a new sport that we've never seen of. I mean, there's people like Naomi here, who's South African, who's also played big in this sport. She's now working it, and I think so many of our kids can also do this, and hopefully this is just the beginning of many beautiful things.
Can I have you sign off live on TV for us quickly?
You catching it here live in Cape Town. We're watching Formula E for the first time in South Africa on eTV. Cheers.
There we go, the Springbok captain, Siya Kolisi. Always a joy to chat to, Nicole. Ever joyful, and the man really, just exemplifies what spirit we need to have in this country. If we put our minds together, we can really achieve anything.
Thank you so much for that, Justin. And after the Springbok captain, the Siya Kolisi, signed off already, there's really nothing more for me to say, but we'll have more sport for you later, and I'll throw over now to my colleague Tumelo.